Alright, so the child traffickers have an AI, okay? And so each profile is technically a preliminary, like, beginning to an AI. And so I like to make pedophiles my stupid fucking bitch. And that, see, here in Tri Cities, pedophiles, and pedobangers, they seem to have like a cognitive disconnect from the reality of what having a nuclear, like, Manhattan site means in your city. It means that some of the smartest people in science exist in this town. And the smartest people in science have to use computers to do science. And that means that some of the smartest people in science are also, they may not have the specific degree or whatever, but are also people that are probably up there in the section of the smartest people in computer science because they make sophisticated scientific equipment that requires advanced computer science to be able to create. And so in Tri Cities, essentially it's like all these weird pedobangers do this theoretical idea called ghost. And that then nobody busts these people. And then essentially computer scientists in the past are they already know what everybody does. Everybody covers everything up. They know that. They've already gone through that. And so some of the smartest people in the world, see, Tri-Cities is literally the city that has the highest PhD per capita population in the world. That means that there's more smarter people than most people's cities in this area. And that most of the stupidest people, in a sadist way, exist here. So, when you people started doing weird dark web of intelligence and stuff, see, Tri-Cities has always had the highest PhD per capita, smartest people that sit around figuring out how to make whatever they're doing at their job be automated on a computer, and that with that has them being bored. See, I'm a super genius, and you see how I'm bored, and then I do intelligence. Okay, that's kind of the culture of the smartest people in this area, where whatever they do in a scientific way, usually they figure out first, and then after that, it's like, what do you do? And then they see in the past, the CIA would let them access the dark web. The scientist out of Hanford. And then they would do intelligence and research to be making explanations in the past, in like the 90s and early 2000s and stuff. In some ways, currently, they make intelligence explanations to what they're not necessarily comprehending or something. And so in this area, that has existed since the 1980s. The people in this area have been victim of the smartest people explaining to, like, the CIA and the FBI and whoever it is, usually it's just national security, who disseminates that information to whoever it pertains to. And that this area has then built counter ops to that stuff in a dumb way. One of the things about smart people is that, see, smart people are like this section where they think in a smart way. I'm a wizard. I think in this way as a primary. But dumb is also one of my intellectual skills. And so then everybody started doing dumb. And so then it became where the scientists, people that do smart things, they're able to figure that out around here. They know how to figure out smart anything. Anything that anybody sinister is doing in a smart way, they're able to figure out pretty much in this area. And then when it comes to the counter op to that, it becomes what dumb is, and that dumb is the military guys, but they don't do anything bad. And that the problem is that these people that used to do like hacking in a smart way have then figured out the theoretics to dumb. And so then dumb is essentially where it's like, well, I figured out a dumb, okay? So the Mormons use this like Wyoming incident like video where it has the code of 33333. You like type in Willard and then you put 3333, you put the like telephone number in, okay? And then that's an example of where that's supposed to spark an ARG that people spend a whole lot of time trying to figure out. But in the end, it's a very simplistic like passcode to a dark web. And so that's dumb. And it's built around intuitive interpretation stuff. And that's the kind of stuff that like smart people, that stuff is counterintuitive to their intellectual brain. And that then the reality is that I'm an advanced super genius that focuses on dumb, because anything smart, these scientists around here, we do smart. They're more than capable of figuring out anything in that way, and that it's a waste of time for me to spend any time learning about that stuff. And that the things that they lack, because they're older than me, okay? The things that they lack are the understanding of the intuitive dumbness stuff. And that I'm also an expert at that. I could easily learn what they do. I'm a very smart super genius. I could learn. All it would take is time for me to sit in a class with some stuffy pocket protector telling me what the theoretics to something are in a computer science way. It wouldn't take me very long. I am a very advanced super genius. The things that they don't understand are the dumb shit stuff. And so that's where a long time ago they tasked me on figuring out the dumb shit stuff. Okay? And that the reality is that dumb shit stuff operates around theoretics. Because the dumb shit stuff is basically the Jeffrey Epstein shit. The child trafficking route stuff. That is what that stuff is. Those people, they do hacking, but they also do a blackmailing world that has an intuitive, like, child trafficking route, and that operates out of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff. So this is where their theoretical computer science stuff also operates around the theoretical, like, dumb, intuitive shit. See, the military guys do leasty dumb. Okay, this is what it is. The military guys do leasty dumb. And it's like, huh? You weren't in the service. Isn't that dumb? And they won't let you into their dark web. Basically. Isn't that dumb? So, that's an example of, like, the gatekeeper stuff. Essentially, it's the gatekeeper stuff operates around a dumb theoretic. So, I research the military guys do leasty dumb, and then essentially, if you're a military brat, basically a child of a military soldier, service soldier, it doesn't matter, any child could theoretically be in their dark web, basically, of a soldier in America. See, that's like their dumb stuff. But that the mosty world has like these encryptions and shit, but that I research what those are because they're so fucking retarded that once you figure out what it is, they're like robots about their rules and shit with those delusional encryptions and shit. So I attempt to figure out what those are, because until I'm like blatant about it, lots of people can exploit their whole fucking world. Well, the military guys, they find dumb hackers, and they're like, here's all these delusional encryptions, and here's how you're supposed to look and stuff. And then these stupid little weird Mormon, like, speaker accessors and sound torturers, they see these hackers, and then they, like, are like robots, and like, well, he had the exact encryption built for our system. So, that's why I researched that stuff. Because you can flood in a shit ton of hackers, and then those hackers, on their own, they start broadcasting everybody everywhere. Okay? And then the military guys see, and then they're able to access the computers of the scientists. This is what it is locally. And the scientists are able to see what they're doing. And nowadays, whether it's computer science based or not, whatever they're doing illegally, then they attempt to find ways to document. But one of the things about dumb is that dumb sits behind in their server in a ratio of their silicone and has like a access to preventing certain stuff under a dumb rule set that, like, if they start talking about Jeffrey Epstein kind of shit, then it gives them a direct ability. See, they already have the direct ability, but they're subversive. They don't want people knowing about it. Scientists, they don't want them knowing about it. And that the moment that they start, it's like this weird Mormon clearance shit. The moment that they start, like, divulging information or something, That's when they start their like isolation of information system from hacks that sit in their server already with a subversive AI that comes from an outside world that then has some pretty advanced tools like the Pegasus system has advanced tools on isolating what information flows out of their boredom intelligence world because you know in Tri-Cities the Hanford nuclear chemist scientists they do things out of boredom in our government. They work with security, cybersecurity, because that stuff is the same cybersecurity that's on their nuclear equipment. And so they're essentially part of government cybersecurity, even if they're scientists. But it's like it doesn't really matter. They're all advanced people at computer science, and that in our government is basically what cybersecurity is. The smartest people at NASA, the smartest people at DOE, the smartest people at DOD in science. Because they're also the smartest people in our government at computer science because they make advanced computer science equipment for their science. And so Tri-Cities has people that are involved with that, and that these ratio systems that essentially their computer server only utilizes like this much of its silicone, and that then there's these Jeffrey Epstein pedobang groups that are hinged to this unused theoretical ratio that then they have some specific like abilities to isolate information. And so a lot of this stuff that I talk about probably would have been known a long time ago because the idea of blatant became the grooming for all dumb pedo bangers around here and being a psychopath and shit. See, in Tri-Cities, the dark web, the dark web is basically, in lots of ways, a theoretical hack into the DOE servers out there that use a baseline AI that has a section of their server is theoretically the science behind it is that the AI that they use isn't finalized yet, so it has sections of their silicone unutilized, and then that stuff gets used through hackers who then build a dark web out of it. And this is like where you can't turn it off. You just have to finalize it. But that process requires real science stuff, okay? It's like you can't just finalize an errored system. It has to be perfect. So this is where the problem exists, where years have gone by where they've figured out exactly how to like isolate certain allowable information. See, they're like allowed, the hackers, they're allowed to isolate information away through their hacks. Most of the time they won't directly hack those scientists and shit like that. But if it comes up on their little stupid pedobanger list, then that's where somebody gets thrown to the wolves, so to speak, to be keeping that information from making it through the back channel ways that the scientists have here in DOE to Department of Defense over the Pentagon. And see, that stuff pisses them off. Why are you guys doing that? You're not allowed to do that. So essentially, I have a dumb profile that the scientists made in it for me. As that server's supposed to be smart and has the stupidest, most retardedest pedo bangers like in it. And that it's still stupid. And that around here, when it comes to dark web access to people's like equipment and shit, these scientists around here, they really, in most ways, could make most cybersecurity in this whole fucking city because all the internet essentially comes, all dial up was like controlled by DOE here in this area for security reasons. And so even like this Ziply and Charter and stuff, they utilize an infrastructure that was here already, built by DOE, and that whatever they're doing in their stupid ass internet company, DOE has all science that would be able to build a very hardened cybersecurity in this area based on the infrastructure that Ziply and Charter use in this area. See, they utilize an existing dial-up system in lots of ways, and that is where those people, like, you know, it may not be the same in most other cities, but here the scientists would be able to take whatever they're putting in the ground and shit, they'd be able to make that better than what their own scientists could create. Because it's built off of stuff that when they had dial up around here through the telephone wires, through Ma Bell, DOE controlled what those companies were doing here. And that they have way more advanced scientific understanding of that stuff than most people in the fucking world. So, the exploit system comes from the unfinished DOE AI here. It really does. But the reality is that everywhere else is worse. It is. See, and that these people in this town, there'll be advanced cybersecurity for tons of people all over Tri-Cities built out of DOE at Hanford. Then there'll be the most exploited people. And so that's what dumb research is about. And they've always been able to create cybersecurity in this area. And then it's kind of like they're kind of psychotic about people preventing. And that in Washington, D.C., once these people in DOE here figure out how to make a city like secure and stuff, then they'll be taking a copy and they'll be stamping it on Washington, D.C. And that's kind of what it is. That's kind of what has always happened. See, when people make advanced nuclear weird gadgets and shit, those people are generally the smartest people in the world. In lots of ways. See, to make a missile go up into the sky, up in space, that's just kind of engineering. Those people are damn fucking smart also at NASA. But to manipulate chemistry in aluminum processing ways, and then to be splitting that stuff, and then to be creating energy, that is what super geniuses do.